Most people think economic collapse starts with chaos. Empty shelves, bank runs, panic in the streets, big headlines, government statements. That moment where everybody suddenly realizes something is wrong. But that is rarely how it begins. It usually starts much quieter than that. A shipping route gets hit. Fuel moves higher. Factories pay more, farmers pay more, food costs rise, households feel tighter, and then only later people begin asking why normal life suddenly feels harder to afford. Right now, that is why what's happening around Iran matters to Britain, even if it feels far away. The International Energy Agency has warned that supply disruption from the Middle East is set to hit Europe harder in April. UK manufacturers have just reported their biggest month-on-month jump in input costs since 1992, and the UK food industry is warning that food inflation could climb much higher if this disruption drags on. Welcome back to Charlie's Survival. If you care about calm, practical UK preparedness without all the noise, hit subscribe and comment below if the one skill you think matters most in a crisis: fixing, growing, medical or money. Because this video is not really about war maps or dramatic headlines, it's about what stays valuable when systems around you start straining. And that matters because history keeps teaching us the same lesson. When economies get hit, the people who look safe on paper are not always the ones who stay secure in real life. Credentials can lose value fast, comfort can disappear fast, consumer confidence can vanish fast. But useful skills often rise in value exactly when everything else gets shaky. So in this video, I want to walk you through 4 skills that seem to survive every economic collapse in history and why they matter in Britain right now. Not in a dramatic bunker fantasy way, in a practical way, because when the cost of running normal life starts going up, usefulness goes up with it. The first skill is repair. This one is simple, but it's massive. When people feel flush, they replace things. When people feel pressure, they stretch things. Cars get kept longer, boots get repaired, generators get maintained, jackets get patched, old appliances get nursed along. Household problems that were once annoying become urgent because replacing the items suddenly feels expensive. That is why repair skills become more valuable in hard times, not because they are flashy, not because they are trendy, because they solve a direct problem immediately. A leaking pipe does not care about your degree. A failed battery, torn strap, puncture, blocked drain, or loose fitting still needs sorting. And when money is tight, the person who can fix, maintain, or extend the life of physical things becomes incredibly useful. That matters in Britain more than people think. Can you look after your own gear properly? Can you service kit before it fails? Can you patch clothing instead of binning it? Can you keep a bike running? Can you maintain torches, power banks, radios, water filters, boots, stoves and basic household kit so it lasts longer? Because here is the truth, repair is not just about saving money, it's about lowering dependence. Every time you can fix something instead of urgently replacing it, you buy yourself time, resilience and breathing room. And that is gold in an economy under pressure. The second skill is food. Not just buying food, not just hoarding food, actually understanding food, how to store it, how to rotate it, how to preserve it, how to cook from basics, how to stretch simple ingredients, how to keep a calm household food buffer without wasting money. This is one of the biggest divides between people who panic late and people who stay ready, because when a supply shock starts moving through the economy, it does not stay as an oil story, it spreads into transport, packaging, fertilizer, refrigeration, manufacturing, and then into the weekly shop. That is exactly what UK producers are warning about right now, with higher energy, fuel and fertilizer costs already feeding into the outlook for food inflation. So, food skill is not extreme, it is simply reducing your exposure to a fragile system. If prices rise again, can you absorb that without stress? If certain items get harder to find for a few weeks, are you already covered? If the shops are full but expensive, can you still eat well from what you already have? Can you turn shelf-stable basics into proper meals? Can you keep enough in the house that you are not forced into emotionally shopping every time something moves? Even a simple 2-week buffer changes how you experience a volatile economy. It gives you time to wait, time to think, time to shop smart instead of react emotionally. And once you understand storage rotation and simple cooking, food stops being something you constantly chase and starts becoming something you manage. That is real resilience. And while we're on this point, if you want to see the source of gear and practical items I think actually make sense for UK preparedness, check out my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. I'll leave it linked in the description. And if you want something free and genuinely useful, download my free blackout checklist from the pinned comment. It is a simple, practical starting point, and if you want the full step-by-step system beyond what I can fit into one video, my course, the UK Crisis Readiness System, is live and available to buy. That is for people who want to build a proper UK-specific preparedness plan rather than piece it together from random videos. The third skill is medical basics. Now, let me be clear, this is not about trying to become a doctor, it's not about pretending you are an emergency service, and it's not about playing hero. It is about competence. Can you stay calm when someone gets hurt? Can you clean and dress a wound properly? Can you manage hygiene when life gets messy? Can you spot dehydration? Can you handle minor illnesses better at home? Can you use a first aid kit properly? Can you recognise when something is getting serious and needs real help? Because hard times do not make health problems disappear. If anything, they make them harder to deal with. When households are under pressure, people delay treatment. They put off replacing essentials. They wait too long. They hope things clear up on their own. Services get stretched. Stress gets worse. Sleep gets worse. Decision making gets worse. So even basic household medical readiness becomes much more important than most people realise. And I think there is another side to this too. Medical resilience is not just only physical, it is mental steadiness. Can you think clearly under pressure? Can you follow a process? Can you stop a situation getting more chaotic? Can you be the calm one in a room while someone else is spiralling? That alone is an asset, because in difficult moments people do not just need equipment, they need somebody who can use it properly without losing their head. And that brings me to the fourth skill, which is probably the most modern one of the lot: price translation. This sounds complicated, but it really isn't. It makes seeing the knock-on effects before they hit your house. Most people only react to the final symptoms. They react when petrol is already painful, when food is already more expensive, when the bill has already landed, when the shortage is already obvious, when everybody else is already talking about it. But the useful person spots the chain early. That matters now, because current reporting in Europe and the UK is already pointing at the exact kind of chain reaction: energy disruption feeding into manufacturing costs, delivery delays, and food inflation risk. So price translation means asking, what household weakness is still affordable to sort today? What do I need more of before everyone else wants it? What can I buy once now instead of paying more later? What item do I rely on that would be annoying, expensive, or stressful to replace in a rush? That might mean topping up essentials before another jump in cost. It might mean replacing worn gear now. It might mean sourcing lighting, cooking, backup power, spare batteries, water, footwear, pantry basics, or key household items before the crowd catches on. This is not about panic buying, it's about getting there early, calmly, and once. And when you zoom out, all four of these skills have something in common: repair, food, medical basics, price translation. They all solve direct human problems. This is why they survive. The more a skill depends on smooth institutions, easy credit, cheap energy, stable logistics, and a perfectly functioning system, the more exposed it becomes when pressure shows up. But a skill that solves a real problem directly gets stronger when things get awkward. That is the pattern. People always need food. People always need repairs. People always need health support. People always need someone who can see the pressure coming and adapt before it lands. And I think that is the deeper lesson here in Britain right now. You do not need to spend all day watching the news. You do not need to become paranoid. What you need to do is become more useful, because useful people are harder to destabilize. If you can fix more, store more, notice more, and handle more, you're less dependent on everything being perfect. And that matters, because even if the current disruption eases, the warning signs are already there. Europe is being told to expect more impact in April. UK industry is already feeling the cost shock, and food manufacturers are already preparing for a more inflationary environment. Even Trump's pressure on European allies to secure their own energy underlines the same points. Resilience becomes a weakness when global systems are strained. So the lesson is not panic, the lesson is to get steadier. Become the sort of person who is useful when things are smooth, and even more useful when things are not. Because preparedness is not really about fantasy collapse scenarios, it's about removing fragility from normal life. It's about having margin, a bit more food, a bit more knowledge, a bit more competence, a bit more breathing room, a bit less dependence on luck. That is what these 4 skills give you, and that is why they matter. Comments below with the first skill you are going to build, and subscribe to Charlie Survival for more calm, practical UK preparedness without the noise. Also check out the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list if you want to see the gear I recommend. Download the free blackout checklist from the pinned comment if you want a simple, practical place to start. And if you want to go deeper into preparedness and build a full UK specific plan, check out the UK Crisis Readiness System, which is now live and available to buy. If you enjoyed this one, I recommend watching this video on screen now about how to survive a fuel shock in the UK. Click it and I'll see you over there.